Hello, all you hardcore boxing fans out there. How you doing? It's Russell here from Porky's Corner, the voice of hardcore boxing. And then again, you know that, don't you? Because that's why you've tuned in. First of all, I want to thank everybody for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment, and the people that joined the members area again this month, and the new people who joined the members area. All right. Today I'm joined by Dennis the Spider. We've got him trapped in here. Should we let him have a bit of fresh air? Yeah, we'll keep him in there. We'll keep throwing him a dead fly in at night time. There's an hole in there, so I don't want anybody complaining to RSPCA saying I've been cruel to animals, because I'm not. I'm the type of person who can't even tread on a spider. Second of all, I want to thank Bunny Johnson, who used to do strength and conditioning for Huey Fury and Savannah. Bunny, you're right about this. I drink it every morning, kettle water, and at night, and it settles your stomach down. So thank you very much, Bunny. It's helping me train a bit better. Anyway, today I'm also joined not just by Dennis the Spider. I'm joined by Richard, my good friend from Rotherham. How are you doing, Richard? Are you all right?
I'm good, Russ. Really good, mate. Yeah. How are you, fella?
All right. I've just finished doing a Mike Mensa chest workout. You know the score, don't you, kid? Light weights and all that.
Yeah, remember it well.
I never used to enjoy training ever with my pal when I was in jail. I hope you're watching. He's from my part. We've had a look together. We used to train. He always used to lift a bit more than me, and I always used to feel that I was always injuring myself, or you're doing other parts of your body instead of body part you wanted to. So Mick's give me a few tips, and I'm just training light weights at the moment and enjoying it a bit better. You've been in strongman competitions, haven't you, Richard?
Yeah, in the 90s, I was in UK Strongest Man competition. Just the couple of years on the trot. It was quite competitive. Pulled trucks and lifted heavy weights and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, enjoyed it. Competitive, but didn't go on to win anything, but enjoyed it.
Good man. And you're obviously still doing some training now, aren't you? Because you're more or less semi-retired, aren't you?
Well, I'm not sure that's the right way to put it. I think my wife would agree with you. I think my partner would say that's definitely not my business partner. That is, would have a different view. But because of the nature of what we do, it's either 100% full on, or you get a little time in between, which is part of the reason why it works for us. So not retired, fully working, but we do get some downtime in between gigs. So that's it. It can look like that, Russ, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I've got a couple of things jotted down. What we cover. What do you think's happened to Billy Joe Saunders' X-rays? And do you think that if you pulled them out, because on your corner of your X-rays you have your name and all that, don't they, and date of birth and that? Do you feel that would put it to bed whether he's had the operation or not, Richard?
Yeah, well, it definitely would put it to bed, because then there'd be, there wouldn't be any other proof required, would there?
Yeah.
I think that, again, we talked about this last time, the silence is deafening, and it's not just from Billy Joe. Nobody's asking anybody any questions about it. He's not come out on social media before the fight, and, over the last 5 or 10 years, maybe 5 years, you've not been able to keep Billy Joe off social media, whether that's tormenting people as they're going down the street. And I'm not going to criticise him too much for that. He apologised for that, and boys will be boys, and it's one of them things. You were trying to have a laugh. I think it came across a bit wrong, so I'm not having a go at him for that. My point is that he was on social media any chance could get. When he's trying to build fights and get fights in the early days, it's a similar pattern all over, isn't it? We might get back to this later on, mate, but it's the same when fighters are trying to get the names built and reputations built. They're fighting every 2 or 3 months. They make some money and they get to a certain level, and then it's all about politics and making sure that if they don't want to fight for a penny less than what they got last time, they're not interested. So I'm digressing a little bit here, but Yeah, his X-rays haven't appeared, and I'm absolutely positive that if he got them, he would have shown them, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. But where does this leave the credibility of the YouTubers with access to the big stars in boxing? I mean, like, you know, your Billy Joes and people like that. Why are these YouTubers, and we know who they are, don't we, folks? Why aren't they asking these people these questions? Nobody seems to be asking anybody anything across the board.
Because it's a cesspit. Boxing is a cesspit, isn't it? And I say that as an hardcore fan who absolutely loves it. But, you know, the people that watch this channel know, don't they? It's the casuals that get, the casuals and people who are a little bit more serious about it than casual, but aren't really sort of looking at it and analysing it. They're just taking what the spoon fed and lapping it up without really asking any sensible questions. And you know, to answer your question, these people that have got access because the people that are talking to them, they're either scripted questions, they either get questions put to them before they're interviewed so they can say, yeah, you can ask that or you can't. And they know that if they ask any challenging questions, which whoever they're interviewing doesn't like, they're threatened with not getting access again. Yeah. These people are getting paid quite a bit of money when they're successful, and good luck to them, by the way. And I have enjoyed some of those videos, especially in the early days, you know, looking at, you know, training footage and people coming up through the ranks when they were 10-0 and 11-0 rather than 25-0. It gives you a good insight into what the personalities are when they're coming through. But now they get to a point where they lose a little bit of where they were, you know, 10 years ago. You know, IFL for me is a good example. You know, and like I say, I've enjoyed some of those videos, and I still watch them. You know, to get a bit of content, see what's going on, and to try and get a balanced view. But you know yourself, Russ, they do it because they like to get access. They like to get access because it gives them views to the stars. If they get views, they get more money. You know, they get more money, they get better production, and it's one continual circle, isn't it? Yeah. That's my.
Okay, what do you think is the answer then? Do you think it's going to change, or do you think it's just getting worse and worse progressively?
It's progressively getting worse and worse. What you need is people who are independent journalists and haven't got any interest in just boxing asking those questions. So you need people from organisations or organisations that are supposed to be independent to go in and ask really, you know, sensible and serious questions that people really want to know. You know, and for me, a good example for me. This week, and you've touched on it already this week a little bit. Anthony Joshua finally came out and said something about the fight with him and Fury. I was a little bit surprised because I thought he played it just right. And when he came out and said, you know, it's all Tyson's team's fault and blah, 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 just gets me steaming because I want somebody to go in and ask the question of both Fury and Joshua and say, listen, guys, if you go back and look at all your videos from 6 to 9 months ago, you were both saying there were a potential stumbling block. You were all aware of it. Yeah. This fight is bigger than the belts. Almost saying to the public and to the fans, don't worry, guys. There's a bit of a problem here. We think we can get around it. And if we can't, you know what, we might vacate and we might not fight for any belts. And this fight's too big. When it comes round to it, rather than when it's all being unwound and they can't come out and say, you know what, we've all been a bit naive, we've misled you. In hindsight, we'd have done things differently. They won't. They just start playing the blame game because they all look a bit silly, don't they? Now, what somebody needs to do from an independent point of view is ask those questions and say, look, Joshua, why haven't you fought in 18 months? Fury, why have you not fought in 18 months? You both had opportunities earlier on than right now. And by the time you do come to fight, it's going to be closer to 2 years. And is it because you're not willing to fight for anything less than what, 20, 25, 30 million? Because fights were still being put on. You know, we had Fight Camp, we had Frank Warren in his studio shows, we had other people putting shows on. The UFC came up with Fight Island and did what they got to do. And fighters were fighting on those shows. Now, where does it end? Because these fighters need to be, you know, saying, right, okay, we're inactive, and you know, I'll fight for 5 million this time because it's better than sat on my backside. You know, I'll fight for 5 million. And if I fight for 5 million and I do well, it means that next time it is the crowds are back and it is pay-per-view, I might be able to fight for the 50 and 60 million. But just tell the fans that. Don't say it's one or the other. You know, they both had opportunities to fight. And if they had fought and got those obligations out of the way, we would have been right now primed for a fight, wouldn't we? It's because they've delayed it that now they're having to delay it even further. And again, sorry, I'm a bit passionate about it because it irritates me that, you know, it just gets he said, she said, and things get thrown about. You know, it's their fault, it's his fault, it's, you know, her fault. And it's the boxers that decide when they're going to fight, not the promoters. The promoters advise, the managers advise. They both should have fought. They both should have took a little bit less money, got themselves into a position where they're now fighting because those obligations would have been out of the way. They missed the chance.
Let's turn this phone off. Yeah, I can see. So basically, they're both to blame, aren't they, really? It's no good playing blame game. They're both as bad as each other. And Eddie Hearn just ran with it, didn't he, for PR to make him, to exert himself into the situation. And now you've got various people in various camps doing sermons, you know, like Caldwell, Gareth A. Davis. They're all sticking up for their guy, Ben Davidson or Jim Davidson, whatever you want to call him. What do you think about them constantly going out there on social media, doing interview after interview, you know, putting it out for the team that they're, even though they're not working with them fighters, they just seem to be going into bat for them because they're connected to the promoter or people around them. What do you think about that, Richard?
Same thing, mate. It's the access. They know they've got to. They know they've got to put questions in a friendly way to them. If they don't come across as being, you know, to use your term, if they're not doing a bit of hula hooping, they're not going to get any views. They're not going to get access to these people. Where are these people interviewing people at Steel City Gym, at Punch Gym in London, at the Peacock, you know, at Millennium, wherever? Where are they coming? Where are they getting these fighters who are coming up in the prospects, Central Area champions? People who are trying to build up a name, trying to get paid peanuts for fights just so they can get to the next fight, get a win under the belt, and get on to the next fight and try and build themselves up. If they are boxing channels, why are they just concentrating on the stars who they've got access to? Well, we know, don't we? Because there's no money in it. There's no money in it going down to, you know, doing the miles and slogging down to the, you know, if you're based in London, coming up here and gonna, other than the Ingle Gym, does anybody else who watches IFL boxing videos know any other gym in Sheffield that's not the Ingle Gym?
Yeah, I do. Glyn Rhodes Gym. There's Chris Smedley's gym at Woodhouse. That's 2. Yeah. Steel City Gym, 3. I think there's another one up there. Now, they only go to EIS, don't they, to see Joshua up here?
Yeah.
That's it. Don't go anywhere else.
Yeah, so you know, the people that you meet, and again, I've got nothing against these people per se, other than what you were saying, and I agree with it in regards to they only want a limited amount of access, and that's it's money driven, and it's view driven. They're not interested in hardcore and root boxing. They're not.
There's Richard Towers Gym and Caldwell's as well. Sorry, go on. Yeah.
This is the Millennium. There's I don't know if Denby Boys Club's going. There's Steffi Bull's gym. I can't remember what that's called. But anyway, the point is that they're not interested in that. So we're having to rely on, and I can't think of many more. This is why I've been sort of like tuned into your channel for several months now, because as somebody who consider myself, you know, a huge boxing fan, there's nowhere else to go, Russ. and I'm not hula hooping you.
I know,
I'm
yeah,
saying
I know.
there's nowhere else to go.
There's Nick Manners' gym in Leeds. There's Mick and Josh Wales' gym. Mickey's Athletic in Brampton, Brelau, Barnsley. I don't see any of these people. Boxing Social, IFL, Behind the Glove. Michelle Phelps only lives in Manchester. I don't see any of these lot going down there. I don't see them up at Dennis's gym, where John Fuchs runs that gym. That's in Sheffield. I don't see these people up at these gyms. I don't, or hear about them, at these gyms. All I hear about is EIS up here and Sims gym near Nick, which is he runs Eddie Matchroom gym, doesn't he? Does anybody see any other gyms? Come and let me know. If there's any other gyms where these people go to, come and let me know, because I don't see it and you don't, dear. So
No.
all right. Do you think that somebody at Matchroom? Do you think there's a thief in the Matchroom stable? Because I'm hearing there is, and that somebody there has stole Eddie Hill's wig glue.
Well, it probably, I'm not in the stable, but as somebody who probably needs the same glue, I'm probably not the best person to talk about that, because I could probably do with either glue or a bit of a transplant myself. I mean, listen, that video with it flying around waving at each other was quite funny. I actually think he's got enough money that if he wanted 10 transplants, he wouldn't have to go to Turkey, would he? He'd just be straight down to Harley Street. He'd get the best guy, or probably got them to come to his house and doing one Sunday afternoon while he got nothing better to do. Bless him. But I don't think he's got a problem. He doesn't have to go to Turkey, does he?
Can I just give a big shout out to Michelle Hudson, who owns Cosmetic Beach in Turkey and Atalia. How are we doing, Michelle? Hope you're well. 7 week, I'll be seeing you. So unless my flight gets cancelled, you get your tea sorted. But I don't need a transplant. I don't want one. Did everybody like the video where Eddie's hair were whipping up with wind? You know where he should have gone, though, if he wanted to buy a wig, don't you?
Morris.
Because the tested against hurricane winds. I got that idea off somebody who because what I do now in the morning, I come in the morning and I read all the comments. Obviously, the vile ones, Carly just takes them off. People keep complaining about comments being took off, if you're going to leave vile comments about slicing up my kids or slagging my grandma off who's just died and things like that, and vile stuff, they're going to remove it, aren't they? Somebody moderates it and removes it. So when I come in the morning, I don't want to read vile stuff, because then it puts me in a bad mood for the rest of the day. So these are protecting me here. Do you see where I'm coming from? You know yourself, you've been down here, Richard. We're not messing about at this hour. We're not cheating. We don't buy views and stuff. We're doing the job properly. But who wants to wake up to that? When I'm in here in the morning at 6:30, I'll go through and see what's been said. I don't want to see that. Would you want to wake up to that?
No, I wouldn't. I think it's absolutely disgusting, and it's unfortunately, mate, when you've got a profile on social media, like you and other people, you're just open to it. You can't avoid it. The most you can do is moderate it. They're just a bunch of cowards, aren't they?
Yeah.
That's my view. People who hide behind masks and don't show the faces and stuff like that. They're just obviously worried, and it's been well documented. I mean, I like the story of Curtis Woodhouse on that guy's doorstep. That's how it should be. But that's my opinion. Just horrible people.
Curtis made him go on calendar and apologise.
Yeah.
Okay then. Where's the opponents that Eddie Hearn said that he beat 4-0, 3 by way off? The former super heavyweight amateur star. Now, Eddie dug one of them up, but they never spoke about the fight. But has anybody seen the other 3?
I've not looked. I'm not. He won't have a box. He should have a boxing rec status, shouldn't he? For amateurs, they do an amateur section, so he should have a boxing rec. If there's been proper amateur fights, he should have one on there. So I'm sure the information's available.
Well, there's no amateur card, and I spoke to a guy called Eric Guy, who used to film all the amateur stuff back in the day, and he said that, oh, you're out of order saying he didn't have any amateur fights. I said, well, he didn't. He said he had two, but there were skills bouts. Well, skills bouts back then, I don't think they went on your amateur card because they're not classed as a fight. They're just like a move around, aren't they? You know, where they get two 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds in.
Yeah, it's a little bit like. Sorry, go ahead, mate.
I'm just saying, it's looking like Eddie's been telling whoppers.
Yeah, it's a little bit like the old martial arts with the katas, isn't it? Where they demonstrate a level of proficiency, you know, and, you know, they get judged and blah, blah. You know, I don't think he's a roadman killer, is he? But no. To be fair to him, I don't think he's ever said he's a roadman killer. I think he just, you know, he likes to say that he's got some experience in the ring, but I don't think that's true.
Yeah, okay. It's 2 years now. 2 years since Dillian Whyte was accused of failing a dope test. So 2 years waiting for the B sample. If people don't believe me, go and look on BoxRec when Dillian Whyte fought Oscar Rivers. You'll see it's 2 years now. We still haven't had the B sample, and it's all gone away. And nobody's asking Dillian about what happened to this B sample. I mean, what did happen to this B sample? It just upped and went like a fart in the wind, didn't it? A bit like Andy Dufresne in that film, Shawshank Redemption. He just disappeared, didn't
he? Yeah, I think things like this go away because people who have got some power and influence make it go away for no other reason. And again, we're coming around full circle to people asking questions. Nobody's going to ask Dillian Whyte that question. Nobody's going to ask Eddie Hearn that question. I'm surprised that Frank Warren, and he did ask the question maybe up until 6 or 12 months ago, but I think he got tired of asking it. But no, it's gone away, like you say. So I think Frank's lost interest in it.
Only because he wants to. Only because he wants to make the Fury fight with Joshua. That's all. That's why he don't want to rock the boat, does he? Really? If he had beef with them, Frank would be digging it up. But I've noticed that Dillian Whyte doesn't say anything about Frank on social media now because last time he did, old Bricktop stuck it on him about his B sample, didn't he?
Yeah, and it wasn't too long ago where Dillian Whyte was lambasting old Lucas Brown about being a junkie at the press conference.
Oh.
If you remember that, he was giving him, you know, he was trying to embarrass him and trying to get him worked up, and fair enough. Yeah. But it's, you know, it's hot kettle, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, you need to be careful how you conduct yourself and the questions you ask, because it'll come right back to you. And, you know, like I say, it's gone away because people who want to make it go away have made sure that these questions don't get asked. And like you say, Frank Warren was asking the question. But maybe you're right, Russ. Maybe that's the reason why he's not interested in it anymore, and he doesn't think it's relevant. And who knows? You know, I'm not sure about this. When I think he's on a fight-by-fight deal with Matchroom Dillian Whyte, you probably got more insight to that. But I think also Frank Warren has always had half a door open for Dillian Whyte, especially with this situation with 1,000 days at being a contender, which is a whole different story, by the way. You could do a full show based on that. That's another thing that really winds me up, is to, you know, he's got millions of pounds, that guy. If it's all about legacy and belts and winning things, you know, you've got enough money, employ a barrister and take the WBC to court.
I mentioned it, mate, didn't I?
Yeah.
I mentioned it. He hadn't done it. So, and the mandatory were never called.
Yeah.
It were never mandatory. He might have been in the #1 position, but the mandatory were never due.
Yeah.
And he kept skirting around the issue, trying to pick off C-class fights he thought he could win, and never risking it. I mean, you tell me the last time you've seen a matchroom fighter in a fight where you say, do you know what? I don't know who's going to win this. Probably the last one was Joshua rematch with Ruiz.
Yeah, 50-50 fights, or even fights at the 60-40, yourself aren't happening as much as they were, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. They just don't happen. I think, again, the money at the top end, it's this pyramid of money, it's an inverted pyramid because it's all at the top end. And, they get to a point where, why do you want to match people up when you can pick up, check after check after check, just fighting fights that most hardcore boxing fans can predict the winner, and put a few and the odds reflect it. So if you go to the odds checker at any time for any fights that are available, the odds don't lie. So you go back on any show and just look at who's going to win, and the bookies don't get it wrong. So the bookies aren't offering even money on these fights very often, are they?
No.
They're offering, it's odds on. Look at even fights that are quite competitive. This coming one with Gervonta Davis, it's 5-1 odd, and he's moving up. So who's going to win that fight?
Yeah.
It's interesting. I think that to answer your question, I can't remember the last time somebody was in a match room who was a matchroom fighter. I suppose the last memorable fight that was on a matchroom card, which was a bit of a firefight, was the Chisora Takam fight, where Takam was absolute. I've never seen Chisora beat up since Tyson Fury 2 like that. And Takam was absolute. You look at Chisora's head after that fight when he was interviewed, he was pummeled, and he found a punch from the floor, didn't he? He brought that right from the canvas and found that knockout punch. But that's the last time I saw a fight that was, sort of a firefight, if you like.
What do you think about Chisora now? Where do you think he goes? He's got 11 losses, he's got a lot of miles on the clock, hasn't he?
Well, I'm always an advocate. If somebody can earn a pound, they can earn a pound. And I have got, like lower hardcore boxing fans, it's very difficult to slate any boxer because we love it. But at the same time, am I ever going to pay 20 quid to watch Chisora fight? Probably not. Am I going to watch it on, repeat the day after, or find it on YouTube just to have a look because I love boxing? Yeah. But where does it end? Talk Sport had a big debate about this on the last time he thought. And I can't remember the guy's name who used to be the chairman of Crystal Palace. Oh, is it Simon Jordan? Simon Jordan, I think it is. He had a big debate about this, I think, with one of the pundits, saying, he's not interested in this anymore. And I had to agree with him. And it's not the 20 quid. It's the principle of, when does it end with him?
Yeah. All right. Where's Lewis Ritson go now, Richard?
I'm not sure, Russ. I think that it's all about, with fighters who are sort of stumbling along the way and have taken a loss and they've got to sort of reset and find a way forward. I think they've got to. It sounds a bit sort of, cliched this, but they've got to reset, look at what went wrong, and try and find their level again and build. I mean, it's a very cliched way of putting it, but I can't see any other way of seeing what he can do. It's a matter of what is your level. What do you think?
I think he's shot to bits. Every time I see him, he looks fat as a pig Michelin man. He's never in shape. All Chisora is, in my opinion, is just he's strutting about, trying to create views and a bit of controversy, but he's a busted flush. He's a dog with fleas. Now, all he's got now is he's been in with this person, he's been in with that person. Look, you struggle to say he's British level at the moment, wouldn't you? I think so.
British level. I think you would have struggled to say he was British level. Maybe before he hooked up with with A.
Hey.
I think that, I think, to be honest, he has improved. He's still losing, but he's improved and he's still losing. I don't think he's got any more to give.
Keep wheeling him out, though. Keep wheeling him out, though, don't they?
Yeah.
I think also, but they're scared to death of him, most of them.
Well, I think that you know, I think that it can be a little bit intimidating, and you know, I think that again, people don't ask Derek Chisora questions, do they? Because if it's the wrong question, he is likely to react. You know, even David Hayes a little bit wary of him outside the ring. You know what I mean? So, you know, I think he can be a bit of a loose cannon. He's got a fiery temper, but it's the fans that are keeping this going. So at the end of the day, if fans don't want to see him, they need to vote with the money, don't they? And not go and see that fight. If they want to just keep seeing a guy, a Neely person, who's been a really tough, you know, tough bloke who's given his all to it, but he's not gonna do anything. If you want to keep seeing him get beat up, because like I say, I'm referring to the Takam fight. He got some stick in that fight. He got beat to a pulp in that fight. If you want to keep seeing that happen, it's the fans that are actually financing it. So if there's a demand there, they'll keep wheeling him out. If there's not a demand there, they won't.
Oh. Okay. Okie dokie then. Well, listen, thanks for coming on, Richard. We've had a good 30 minutes or so. Had a good chat, haven't we?
We have, mate, yeah. It's always good to talk to you, Russ. Like
are you off to gym now?
Yeah, I'm off to the gym. I had to cancel a PT session today. I had a guy coming up doing some pad work in the garden, but it's been raining like you know what. So
roof will not be coming off on Audi today then, no?
It might be, mate. You know, if it's drizzling, I might get the roof off and get the shades on and see how we go. But only if it's drizzling.
That's helmet behaviour, that, Richard, isn't it?
I'm trying to get in on your last helmets of the month as a bonus feature. I've got one last question for you, Russ, if you don't mind.
What?
Alan Babbage, is he Matchroom's new Dave Allen?
Yeah, he is, yeah.
Okay, that's answered that.
Yeah, he is. They're going to keep wheeling him out. You know, he's like the light-hearted entertainment, you know, where everybody goes, oh, Babbage is on. Come on, a bit like when Dave used to fight, they'd all say, oh, come on, it's Dave Allen. Over there with, hey, go on right now. Nobody takes Babbage serious, the same that they didn't take Dave serious, but that was Dave's own fault for how he carried off in interviews and social media. He created this comedy element, and a bit like Jack Duckworth and Rivera in Cora, it was light-hearted entertainment, wasn't it? Then we had Battersby. Well, but Babbage, that in his like light-hearted entertainment, and soon Eddie will get bored of him once he's had a couple of losses, and they'll dig somebody else. But that's just how it is, isn't it? I mean, but,
all right, mate.
You take care. Have a great weekend, Richard. Cheers, Paul.
And you, Russ. See you later, bud.
Well, that was Richard from Rotherham. I've been out with him a couple of times. Nice guy. Very nice gentleman. From area. Used to have his own security business, do outdoors in area back in the day, or certain areas. So good bloke. Straight John Bull bloke like myself, proper Yorkshireman. So okay then, that's about it for this morning. I'm going to go to printers now. Woo! So peace out. Keep on trucking, keep supporting boxing. Don't have nightmares. Thank you for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. And thank you to them who subscribed yesterday, because yesterday the people who 36.1% of you now it's down to who haven't subscribed, but not everybody's got 3 seconds in the day to click subscribe, have they? Give the Porkster a bit of respect, but all right. Peace out.